And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. This is Gerald Glassman coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us as our NBA team previews continues. We're in the B's now, before as far as for Boston, but now we have the interesting team that's out there for so many financial reasons and otherwise, the Brooklyn Nets. So I'm really ready to dig into what's going on with Brooklyn, and who better to speak about the Brooklyn Nets than obviously someone that really focuses in and covers the Nets indeed. It is, of course, Rafael Mocling-Pan. Jamie, great to have you here. You write for Stadium Rant, you write for Stadium Rant, you write for On New Jersey. Just great to have you part of what we're doing, my friend.
Well, I appreciate being here, and I'm very excited to talk about both the Nets and maybe the Lakers as well.
Absolutely. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Lakers. I ask each and every person that I'm fortunate enough to talk to about that, because I love outside perspectives that are not just jaded or maybe tinted or maybe a little bit biased because they have the purple and gold shaded glasses on per se. So I'd love to hear those outside perspectives on that, and we will hear in the show. But first off, it is the Brooklyn Nets. Very interesting team over the course of the summer. They did have a very interesting summer. As of this recording, they at one time coming into the summer had more cap space than anybody else. Thank you, Ben Simmons. And in doing so, created a lot of situations very interesting for themselves. They traded away Cam Johnson, brought in Michael Porter Jr., and as far as one of the big deals, they drafted 5 players, a record in the first round. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. I feel like it's a fantasy league or something. 5 players in the first round. Yeah. As of this moment, though, you still have Cam Thomas still undecided as far as what that situation is going to play itself out at. They do have obviously some things as far as their future that they're looking forward to. It's not about winning, I don't think, with Brooklyn Nets. And again, it's really hard to sell the fan base on that. But the writing's up there on the walls. It's about development going forward. With the Brooklyn Nets, what do you see? I guess, how was the summer in your perspective? Let's just start off with that.
I think this summer is very much a whole redo and just restart of everything. As you can see from all of those picks, I think they're trying to sort of build a foundation for themselves. I don't think they have their sort of star player yet. I know they have Igor Demin, who's a great playmaker, pass first type of guy, but I personally don't think he'll be like the absolute star player of the Nets, but I do think he'll be a very integral part into their future.
Okay. That's one thing I wanted to ask you, because when most NBA experts, some of my good friends that are NBA draft world, they looked at the Nets first round picks, and I'll just say they were kind of mixed, to say the least. You said Igor from BYU is Igor Drummond, possibly going to be the breakout individual of those 5. But when you go into a draft with 5 first round picks, Jamie, what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts about what you wanted to get out of it on the other side?
I think, well, first, I actually think they kind of played themselves out of like those top picks because they've overplayed in the sense of like they won more than they expected, and um I think they kind of played themselves out of that really top 3 to top 5-ish draft pick, and they had to kind of go from there. And with what they're doing, I really think they're just I think they're trying to play out and see like who has the most potential. I don't think they were able to get their star player this year per se. So I think this coming year it's more of developing those young rookies, those young guys. So I think guys like Cam Thomas, Michael Porter Jr., they'll be in there for like the starting lineup, but I think the Nets will emphasize more rookies than guys like Cam Thomas because he's also trying to go for like that 40 million, $30 million contract, and the Nets are very unsure if he's going to be part of their future. And yeah.
I'll just say this: it just seemed like what they did in the draft was throwing darts at a dartboard and
Yeah.
seeing what sticks. This is what I get from it. I think actually whoever they draft next year is going to be
Mhm.
more important than anyone they drafted
Yeah.
this year, which is crazy because they had 5 picks. But in
Yeah.
essence, that tells you all you need to know about this year's draft, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's this year's draft was, other than like Cooper Flag and Dylan Harper. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
other than that, there wasn't too many like big names compared to like maybe next year, like an AG DeBanza or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Because there's several different candidates at the top of the draft next year, which,
Mm-hmm.
according to the draft experts, at least 4 or 5 that could be franchise changing as far as
Mm-hmm.
what they're calling it, as far as that's concerned. So you could take for whatever that's worth. But with the 5 picks that they did have, as far as Igor Demon, excuse me, Nolan Traore, Drake Powell, Ben Saroff, and Danny Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
You said Igor, the first of those picks, because of his playmaking ability, may be the one that you think sticks. If that's the case, because this is a very interesting team. This is a team that is definitely, I guess, targeted to lose because you
Mm-hmm.
have 5 rookies that are deers with the headlights on. Like they'll
Yeah.
be just wide eyed and making a ton of mistakes out there, but they're going to get plenty of playing time. But then you
Mm-hmm.
have Michael Porter Jr., and if Cam Thomas returns, which he'll have to at least return on a 1-year tender at the very
Mm-hmm.
least, you're going to have 2 guys that are looking for theirs. They're just
Mm-hmm.
going to be chucking up shots. So that usually does a big for a great combination. So, in order to do that, though, this is, like you said, lining itself up for 2026. And in doing so, do you see ultimately a path forward for this team? I mean, when you write about this team, are you seeing light at the end of that tunnel as of now?
I think as of now, maybe not, because they're really just trying to. I'm just being honest. Maybe as of
Of
right
course,
now, only right now.
yeah.
Yeah. I think they're really trying to, like you said, throw darts at the wall and kind of see who can develop. Maybe a guy like Drake Powell can like pop off, or Danny Wolf. But again, you never know, especially with these rookies. So I think they're just trying to test and see what they can do, especially with Jody Fernandez, like kind of being a little bit new, like it still is like second year. So he's trying to see and kind of um, work out his whole system and trying to see where he can go from there. Um, I think mainly the focus is trying to play for a top 3 pick for next year, and I think that'll really get the ball moving. So this year is sort of like I would say a filler year, and sort of hoping that they can play into that top 3 draft pick next year. And but there's still that uncertainty of what they'll do with like Cam Thomas or something like that.
You said, as far as the work is laid out for Jordy Fernandez, and part of the reason why I think that they did play a little bit above their heads last season
Hmm.
was Jordy Fernandez. I think, as
Yeah.
far as one of the younger coaches in the league, I think he has a lot of talent as far
Hmm.
as coaching ability is concerned. But when you are going to coach a team that is expected to lose and lose a lot, and you have the front office giving him commands to go ahead and do whatever you can to lose, and he's not entirely. It's so hard for a coach, especially one with I think his abilities as a coach,
Mhm.
as a promising young coach. I just think it's just so hard, the dynamics, because you have a front office that is telling you the direction of the team is going one way, and as a
Mhm.
coach, you're trying hard to develop these guys and eventually lead them into a different path.
Right. Yeah, because I obviously as a coach, you don't want to lose. Your whole goal as a coach and the team is to win. But I think there's a bit of a clash. Probably would be a bit of a clash between like the front office and the coaching staff. Where of course the coaches and the team wants to win, but the front office is trying to see a future within the next few years rather than trying to win now. So I think that'll be a bit of an issue, but we'll see where that goes.
One of the things I did want to ask you
Mhm.
is regarding the center position. Dayron Sharp, I believe, also is still in
Yeah.
under that that restricted negotiations as far as that's concerned. But Nick Claxton, his
Hmm.
name came up considerably over the summer in trade talks to the Lakers, to the Warriors. Seemingly was going to be at one time a uh, sign and trade with getting Kaminga, but that kind of fizzled out after the
Hmm.
Porter trade. Um, my question to you is Nick Claxton, does he stay the entire season on the Brooklyn Nets?
Mm, I think he does stay at least this season. He's still pretty young. I think he's a great rebounder, great defensive player. Um, do I? I think that Nick Claxton could still be in the cards for the Knicks' future, or the Nets. I'm so sorry, the Nets, the Nets' future. But again, I think it really depends what they do next year. If they draft someone like a Cameron Boozer or like AJ Debansa, it really depends on what they do for their future next year. But I do think that Nick Claxton has the potential to stay they get unless the Nets do get trade offers for even more picks. Like how many more picks can you get, you know? But I think they're just trying to hoard them all, which is good, but yeah.
Absolutely. No, with Nick Claxton again, I know that a lot of people in Lakers land really liked him and would have liked
Hmm.
that trade to him. I'm not as high on him because of the free throw shooting. Personally,
Yeah.
I know that he is the record holder in the playoffs for 0 for 10 at the free throw line for that. Again, to me, that would have me concerned a little bit. But as a rim protector,
Hmm.
and also a lob threat, I do know that he is attractive to other teams like the Lakers out there, and will probably continue to be so. And he's a name of
Yeah.
note at the trade deadline.
Hmm.
How interesting was the speaking of trades, the Miami? I don't want to say dump per se, but the trade of Haywood Highsmith, which was essentially a money dump transaction. I understand that Brooklyn doesn't have much as it once did, uh, salary cap wise, but the Highsmith deal has me thinking about where you go. How far do you go in regards to taking the island of the toys to create the misfit toys to create the island of misfit toys on your team, taking those bad contracts or not as desirable contracts in? At what point do you say, like Michael Porter Jr., who's substantially more than Cam Johnson, and you don't really know where he fits in your future? So with that, at what point, as you as a fan or someone who covers the team, are concerned about taking in all these bad contracts and saying it may hamper your long-term future?
Yeah, I think taking those bad contracts may not be a good thing, especially if you're in that, if eventually they play into that pool of like free agency and like, they'd want to sign someone, or maybe they want to re-sign Cam Thomas next year, but again, they might not have enough money because they took that like those bad contracts. I don't think it's a good idea. So I'm a little like concerned of what they're doing with those bad contracts, but again, I don't run the front office, but I personally don't think that getting all those bad contracts will benefit them in the future, especially if they're trying to get Cam Thomas again, which I don't think they are. But again, it's that opportunity of getting enough money to get a good free agent within their future.
I mean, if they would have really relished signing Cam Thomas back, they would have done so while
Yeah.
they had plenty of cap space, back on day one of free agency, or even beforehand, and
What?
just
Hmm.
taking care of it then. The fact that it's dragged out this long to where we're recording here in September and it's still not resolved, I think tells you all you need to know about pretty much what they think of Cam Thomas.
Yeah.
He's valuable enough not to just let go for nothing, but he's not valuable enough to the team long
Hmm.
term to go ahead and commit to much of a long term salary.
Yeah.
But with Cam Thomas, The thing is, again, he also is someone. Let's say he does get a 1-year tender or just a 2-year deal, a 1+1 or what have you, or 1+ a team option or something that's a attractive out there as far as for other things. I still think that Brooklyn is not done dealing for this season. I
Hmm.
still think there are players that they will probably want to move out. Who knows? Even MPJ could be among those as far as being moved out again. The uncertainty in Brooklyn, because like you said, they are a team that, for lack of a better term, wants to tank. But in your opinion, which players, if any, should stay, and which, if any, players should be gone by the end of the season?
I feel like can a guy like MPJ I feel like is probably just gonna go, whether it's the trade deadline, most likely for more picks. Cam Thomas, if this situation keeps going, I'm likely to see him go within the trade deadline as well. Uh I like to see Daron Sharp stay, potentially Nick Claxton, but again the Lakers are very interested in him. So we'll see where that goes. So between like those two bigs, I would like to stay, especially if we have very offensive heavy like rookies, but the
Mhm.
defense is a bit lacking, especially with Cam Thomas also lacking in defense. I would like the Nets to keep their big guys. A lot of their defensive anchors, I would like them to stay in Brooklyn to kind of balance out the kind of offensive like overload they got on like the rookie class too, especially.
Once again, I'm speaking to Jamie Rafael Mocling-Pan. You can go ahead and catch him today on Stadium Rant, and also as well as the lead writer for the Brooklyn Nets at On New Jersey as well. Want to make sure that you go ahead at the end, go ahead and plug everywhere you're at as far as, or anything you want at the end here. But before we head on out, again, with the direction for the Brooklyn Nets, I'm going to ask everyone this. If everything goes right for your team this season, where do you think the ceiling is? Now, for almost every other team, it will be about playoffs, a championship, a
Hmm.
finals, or something like that. I have a feeling if everything went right in your world in the Brooklyn Nets, I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Mm-mm. Well, I think playoff pictures, well, like championships, I'm pretty sure that's already out of the picture. But
Mhm.
I think the ceiling, as weird as it might sound, but it makes sense. I think it makes perfect sense to have their ceiling be that top draft, not top three draft pick. I think that sort of playing themselves into that top draft pick will benefit them, especially within the future, especially if what they're doing now, like kind of rehashing, kind of restarting with everything. Throwing darts at the wall is a little, got some mixed reactions, but I think this next year's draft class, they have it kind of pinned down a little bit. So if they can play themselves into those top three, I think they'll be fine within the
There you
future.
go. Yes. Again, if everything goes all well, you'll win the lottery. So there you
Yeah.
go. Okay, and that's that. There you go, indeed. But before we head on out, I wanted to go ahead and, again, as I said before, I've always enjoyed getting perspectives of non-Laker fans on the Lakers because it helps guide my perspective as far as how I evaluate the team, what I look at, what I don't look at. Sometimes something will mention something to me. Hey, I didn't realize that, or I didn't figure that. That's a clear. Sometimes you're able to see things clear from an outside perspective. So in doing so, again, the Los Angeles Lakers coming into the season. LeBron James, 41-year-old, as far as coming up here in December. His age 41 season could be his last or one of his last seasons in the NBA. Luka Doncic coming in great shape. He has been playing in Europe, doing extremely well for the most part, and again coming into a season where the Lakers didn't seem to go, in my opinion, all in, but they seemingly have a player in Luka that could have an all-in type of season. So with that, my friend, taking a look at the Lakers themselves as an expert in the NBA and as an expert who covers the NBA scene, Where do you see the Lakers falling this season?
Uh, well, with the Lakers, I feel like they will, well, hopefully for them that they get into maybe the Western Conference Finals or semifinals. I think there are those talks of trading LeBron, which I've been hearing about, but I'm a little unsure where they'll go with LeBron, especially since he's reaching that 41, age. And I'm not saying he's not a great player. Of course, he's LeBron James, but I think teams will kind of be hesitant on like taking on such a big contract. And I'm not gonna say go against his age, but you'll get what, three, maybe 2, 3 more years of production out of him, but then you're left with such a big contract after that. And LeBron's sort of at that age where he's really trying to push for one more championship. Whether it's the Lakers or not, we'll see. But I think the Lakers are also trying to go all in on Luka. He's 26, 27, very young. I think that Palinka will just try to build around him, and LeBron will sort of be like in a supporting role now.
So, how far do you think their ceiling will be this season?
If everything goes well, I definitely see past the first round of the playoffs, second round. Um, I can see them going there. If everyone's healthy, I can maybe see a finals appearance. I think a little bit of a not a dark horse pick per se, but within that top like three Western teams that can make it. But again, it's just gotta be everyone's healthy. Luca's gotten slimmer, which is good for him. LeBron is at that age where he could be injured. Of course, he's got that body where he can just regenerate for somehow and then just get back to playoff level form. But again, I think the main thing for the Lakers is health for that ceiling to go all the way to the finals.
All right, Jamie. Sensational job. I truly appreciate you stopping by. We're going to have you on during the course of the season. Come on again to one of our live audience shows to go ahead and as far as keep us updated on what's going on with Brooklyn. Would love to have the opportunity to do that with you. But before we head on out for today's show, I wanted to go ahead and hear your thoughts on where you're at, the hard work you do, the great work you do out there. Please go ahead and let us know what's going on in your world, my friend.
Well, I mainly cover the New York Yankees for Stadium Rant, so you can catch me there. Yeah, mainly been following a lot of baseball, basketball, seldomly, but I'm getting back into it. You can catch me on New Jersey, of course, if you want more Brooklyn Nets coverage. And yeah, that's about it for now.
Well, with the Fall Classic in around the corner, the Yankees, and again on the West Coast, the Dodgers. Could it be a team like the Brewers? Could it be a team like Chicago? Could it be a team somewhere else? Detroit, even. So
Mm.
many teams right now vying for this year's World Series. So, absolutely. If you want to go ahead and check out what he's doing in regards to the Yankees, go ahead and check it out today at Stadium Rant. And again, when he gets things back going again with the Brooklyn Nets, as their lead writer at On New Jersey. Indeed. I'll tell you what, Jamie, as my wife would tell me to say, salamat for
Salamat.
stopping by. Truly appreciate it. Cannot thank you enough as always. And again, I would love to have you back on during the course of the season to stop on by to go ahead and give us an update what's going on with
Oh,
Brooklyn, if you think
yeah, of
that's
course.
okay.
Of course, of course. I'd love to come back on here.
Well, to see if Jordy Fernandez actually stays with what the game plan is, the front office or not. If he just says, the big old screw you to the Brooklyn Nets front office and say, I'm going to win games. And, right if they're hovering around 500, I can see the front office going, oh,
Um,
no,
I think as
that's
Nets
not.
I think Nets
Oh,
fans
man.
as well will probably be like, "Oh man, we're out of
Oh,
that top three pick."
no. Exactly. That's gone. It's gone. And in the year you don't want to do it either. So
Yeah. Right.
we're waiting to see. Utah might have something to say about that as well. But
Hmm.
again, Jamie, it's been great having you on. We want to bring you back on again. Looking forward to our next conversation right here on the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.